All right, let's dive into something pretty ambitious. We're talking about building a full-blown, next-generation AI cybersecurity platform. Sounds complex, right? Well, today we're going to break down the blueprint for a system called XTest, which is powered by this really interesting framework called Mind Flight Orchestrator, or MFO for short. So just picture this for a second. What if you could unleash an entire army of AI security agents? And I don't just mean one or two tools, I mean a whole coordinated force, working together 24/7 to protect everything you've built online. That's the huge vision we're talking about with something like XTest. It's not science fiction anymore. This is actually happening. And when I say an army, I mean it. We're talking about a whole spectrum of specialists. You've got your recon agents, your scanners. You have agents that dig into your static code, that's SAST, and others that test it while it's running, which is DAST. Then you've got agents watching your cloud setup, whether it's AWS or Azure, your Kubernetes clusters. Even agents that are constantly hunting for leaked secrets on places like GitHub. Heck, there are even compliance agents for things like ISO and GDPR. The whole point is to build this incredible, multi-layered defense. Okay, that all sounds amazing, right? But here's the catch, and it's a big one. It's what you could call the founder's dilemma. How on earth do you build something that powerful and complex without accidentally creating a technical monster that just collapses under its own weight? So here's the real problem, the thing that trips everyone up. With most of the AI frameworks out there today, all the smart stuff, the prompts, the decision-making, the workflows, it all gets hard-coded, buried deep inside the application. And what you end up with is this tangled mess. It's a nightmare to change, impossible to audit, and you just keep piling on technical debt. So really, you have two paths you can take. On one side, you've got the traditional way. Bury all the intelligence in the code. It becomes a black box, it's slow, it's brittle. But then there's the MFO approach, which does something completely different. All that intelligence, it's defined in simple YAML files. Now, if you're not familiar, YAML is just a really clean, human-readable way to write configuration. It sounds like a small change, but trust me, the implications are massive. Suddenly, everything is transparent, you can actually govern it, and making changes is fast. So, how do we actually solve this dilemma? Well, this is where Mind Flight Orchestrator, MFO, comes into the picture. Its entire philosophy, its whole reason for being, is built around one single powerful idea: getting your AI's intelligence out of the application code. The magic word here is decoupling. Seriously, this is the core principle. Think about it like this. Your kitchen is the application code. It's got the oven, the knives, the how to cook. Your recipe is the YAML file. It's the what to cook. In the old model, the recipe is welded to the oven. With MOFO, they're separate. You can swap out recipes all day long without having to tear out the kitchen and build a new one. That separation, that's everything. It's what gives you speed and control. And applying this one idea, this decoupling, it just steamrolls a bunch of huge problems that developers face. You want to orchestrate all those different agents? MFO gives you the building blocks for that. Need to prove to an auditor what your AI is doing? Well, the logic is right there and readable, version-controlled YAML files, total transparency. And big enterprise stuff like security and integrations, that's not an afterthought. It's baked right in from the get-go. All right, so that's the high-level theory. It sounds great, right? But what does this look like in the real world? Let's say you've got this amazing MFO framework and this giant vision. The number one question is always, where do you even start? How do you build that first version, that MVP, that actually delivers value and gets you off the ground? I mean, this is the question every founder loses sleep over. You've got that whole laundry list of agents we looked at earlier. You can't build them all at once. If you try to boil the ocean, you'll fail. So picking that perfect starting point is absolutely critical to getting any kind of traction in the market. And this is where the strategy for XTest gets really smart. The idea is to narrow your focus, like a lot. Forget the entire army for a minute. You start with just two, the scanner agent and the SAST agent. That's the one for static code analysis. Think of it like a surgical strike. And there's a brilliant logic to this two-step punch. You lead with the scanner agent. Why? Because it's an easy yes for a new client. It's not intrusive, it gives them some quick, valuable wins, and it doesn't ask them to change how they work. Then, once you've proven your value and built that initial trust, you come in with the SAST agent. That one goes deeper. It plugs right into their developer workflow, and that's how you become indispensable. That's how you build a sticky product. And here's the most important part. That MVP, it's not a dead end. Because you built it on MFO, it's not a throwaway prototype. It's the foundation. It's step one on a clear, manageable path to that full platform, that whole army of agents we dreamed about at the start.
So, what does that roadmap actually look like? Well, in the first 2 months, you get those scanner and SAST agents out the door and into the hands of a few pilot clients. Bam. Months 2 to 4, you're all about integration. You connect to the tools they already use: GitHub, Jira, Slack, make it seamless. And then from month 6 onward, you scale. You start adding the more complex agents for cloud and Kubernetes. You build out dashboards. And all of this happens without having to go back and re-architect everything from scratch.
And this really hits on a huge advantage of the MFO architecture. It's built around connectors from the ground up. Integration isn't something you tack on at the end, it's a core part of the design. What that means is your product from day one isn't a closed box. It's an open platform that plays nicely with all the other tools your customers are already paying for. And the practical benefit here is just wow. Instead of your engineering team spending 6 months building custom integrations, you get all of this out of the box. GitHub, Jira, Slack, AWS, you name it. So a security finding can automatically pop a ticket into Jira, ping the right person on Slack, and pull in contests from AWS, all without a human touching anything. For a startup, that kind of seamless workflow is literally the difference between success and failure. And it's not just about connecting things, it's about real automation. The target here is an 80% success rate. That means 80% of the time, a security finding automatically generates the right Jira ticket or even a pull request to fix the problem, all within the first 4 months. Think what that means for a dev team. It's a massive reduction in manual busy work and way, way faster fixes. You know, this quote really nails the entire philosophy we've just walked through. Start strategically, prove value quickly, and scale systematically without accumulating technical debt. That last part, without accumulating technical debt, that's the holy grail. That's what makes this whole thing not just possible, but sustainable for the long run. So it all really boils down to this one final question you have to ask yourself if you're building anything with AI. Is what you're building just a solution for today's problem, or is it truly engineered for tomorrow? Because that choice between a quick fix and a scalable platform, that's the decision that's going to define who builds the next generation of great software.